All right, hello. I'm going to talk to you about four corner stations that you're going to be working on for a couple days this week. These are the fun, colorful cards. Sometimes they give you a table, sometimes they give you the graph, and then sometimes they give you the equation. Remember that the equation gives you the unit rate. So on station 9, your unit rate is 25 hundredths. On station 10, the unit rate is $1.35. So they're giving you the unit rate. Whereas on a table or a graph, you're going to have to work for it a little bit more. So I'm going to walk you through station 1 on your workspace, and this is what we're going to copy down on our information first. So find unit 1 in your workspace. Okay, so here's the station 1 workspace on the workspace. And notice they give you a verbal, they give you an equation box, a table box, and a graph box. So a lot of information you're going to solve out for each and every problem. So here we go. First thing I want you to do is copy down everything that they give you on the station card that you're holding. So this one tells you time and hours and number of songs. Okay, and I'm going to plug in the numbers they give me: 2, 4, space 9, and then for the number of songs, 30 and 52.9, 52 and a half songs. All right, as we talked about in class, this is your x value and this is your y value. So given that information right there, we can go to my equation box and say that x is representing time in hours and y is representing number of songs. All right, so step 1 was to copy down what we found on our station card. Step 2, I would like you to go ahead and read your verbal situation and see what we can learn from there. So a radio station plays 30 songs in 4 hours. What is the constant of proportionality based on this situation? In other words, what is our unit rate? So if there's room in this box, I'd like you to put it down here or on top or wherever you can find a spot for it. So remember unit rate, we want to take our y divided by x. So our y is the number of songs and our x is time. So go back to our problem. Number of songs was 30 and our time, x, was 4. Okay, so see where I found all those numbers? I wanted my y divided by x, and I knew that because of my table. All right, so now we're going to take 30 divided by 4, and we're going to figure out how many songs they play per hour. So 30 divided by 4 is 7.5 songs per hour. All right, so circle that, make sure I know that you found your unit rate. All right, now in the equation box, we need to make sure we write our equation. Remember that y equals mx. So you take your unit rate and you plug it in for m. And you just wrote an equation. So all you got to do is plug in your unit rate right there. The y and the x are constants. That's what you're always going to use. All right, now we have a unit rate. We have an equation. Let's finish our table. So if I play 7.5 songs every hour and I play for 2 hours, what would I do to figure that out? Well, when you know your x value, you're going to multiply by your unit rate. So what is 2 times 7.5? And you'll get 15, which that makes sense. If I get 4, and if I double 15, I get 30. So that was a proportional relationship for me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump down to 9 since that's also an x value. I know I need to do the same So 9 times 7.5, I'm getting 67.5 songs. All right, so when given the x value, we multiply. So any guesses on what I would do when they're giving us the y value, which is 52.5? I'd want to do the opposite. So I'm going to divide by my unit rate to find my x value. You're going to do the opposite operation because they're giving us the opposite value. All right, so what is 52.5 divided by 7.5? I'm getting 7. Does that seem reasonable? It's less than 9, less than 67. So I'm good with it. All right, so we filled in our table, and now we're ready to graph it. Now, when I graph these, I'm going to be looking really closely to make sure you have a label, because I want this x value to match up with what your value is for your x-axis. Similar, your y value in your table should match up with what you put on your axis of your graph. And just because of space, I am going to shortchange this, so number of songs. All right, so now when you're graphing, be really careful not to graph exactly, like don't put 2, 7, 9 on your axes because that's not a good even interval. So go ahead and label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So notice I don't have to write every number. That's a 9, by the way. Because then it might get a little blurry. Mine's already blurry, but hopefully you can write better. But everything does represent one unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so now going up the side is going to be a little bit tougher since my numbers get so big. Don't worry about having to graph all 4 points. If I don't get to 67, it's okay. But I do want to try to get a good 2 or 3 points in there. So I'm going to count up. If we did 10s, we would have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So that sounds like plenty. So I'm going to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. All right, so pretty big interval, so just try to make them as clear as you can. So now we're going to graph as many points as we can on our graph. Oh, I do need to go to 70, don't I? All right, so you're going to go over 2 for your x value. So this is, as an ordered pair, it would look like this, 2, 15. So I go over 2, up 15. Over 4, up 30. So that should meet at a perfect little point. Over 7 and up 50. A little above the 50, 52.5. And then over 9 up 67. So there's 60, a little bit closer to 70. All right, if you make a good quality graph, it should make a straight line from the origin. Okay, straight line starting at the origin. All right, so the graph I'm going to be looking at making sure you don't just copy down the numbers from your table because that's just poor graphing. You want to make even intervals. All right, so every situation, you're going to copy it from your card. Okay, read your verbal situation, figure out your x values, figure out what y represents, write your equation, and then fill in your table to graph it. All right, so good luck today.